Hello and welcome to the next tutorial in our construction of the loft house. Today we're going to put the spindles and the railing on the stairs and on the second floor balcony. And we're going to do the stairs together, and then I'll leave the balcony for you to accomplish as a challenge on your own. So to get started, let's take a look at our first step. And we're going to have these in, let's enter it so that we're editing it. So double click. And then we're going to grab our tape measure tool. And we're going to measure in 2 inches from the side, 2 inches from the front, and that'll give us our spot to draw from. We'll use the circle tool, and with this as the center point, we'll draw along this line, along this guideline, 0.5 inches, so it'll be 1 inch in diameter. We will grab the select tool and immediately double click it, right click, make it a component. We'll call it a spindle. And then we'll enter it, push pull, and we'll push pull this thing up 32.5 inches. Now, let's copy this thing a few times. So let's exit out of that, and so I'm actually nested pretty deep with this thing. So we'll go out. So we're just editing this. We don't need these guides anymore, so we'll delete them. And then we will we'll move copy this component with the move tool. We'll click here. So I'm using this as my inference point so that I can move it up here the same amount. Hit Control to copy, and then what is it? 6x? 5x? Let's go 5x. I don't need one on that last step there. And then finally, we'll do this on the other side. Quick way to do this would be, let's measure out 4 inches, and then we'll just grab this guy, and we'll grab it from this inference point. I created a 4-inch guide tool so I could grab it from that point and then transfer it to this corner. There might be a quicker way to do it, but this is sometimes the quickest way to do something is just the first thing that comes to mind. So 4x. Oh wait, I have to click it to move it, and then do 4x. There we go. 2, 3, 4. Let's make these things, let's give these things a texture. So let's enter it. We'll grab the paint tool, and we're going to find, let's just find a color. And let's go with a kind of a dark gray. Color one, it'll color all of them. Just to give them some visual contrast. Oh, let's do the top. Part 2. Boom. Next, we want to draw the railing. So let's go ahead and clear out our guides. We don't need those anymore. Let's close the materials window. Let's close all these windows. Okay, so let's draw our railing. So we're going to draw 2 railings. So we're going to just do one and then copy it over to the left. And this time we will use the rectangle tool. And we're going to draw it out. We're going to draw, let's go 0.5, 2. Create a little rectangle. And then we're going to make that a group real quick. And then move. We're going to grab it from the midpoint. And then head up to the top of this rail. And try to get it on the midpoint there. So it's centered right here. Now, we're going to rotate that thing up, so the rotate tool is underneath the move tool. We'd like to rotate along this line right here. So how you do this is you click and hold, and while you click and hold and drag, you can find that the rotate axis thing will turn green, and then you can release, and then we're going to rotate it on this axis up 90 degrees. Click. So it's a several click action. It might be a little bit frustrating. If you mess it up, just undo and try again. Now we need to give this thing, we're going to use the push pull tool, so we're going to give this thing a profile. I'm going to start here at this endpoint. And then we're going to extend this thing to the top of to the next floor, but for now, let's just get our line going in the right direction. So we're going to go to the midpoint in this spindle here. Boom. So it's kind of the same point on each spindle so that we know that the angle is right. So now, to do this, oh, you know, I did something, I made a slight error. So this line is not actually inside of my object, so I can't select it to do my push-pull. So instead, what I'm going to do is right-click on the line, cut it. Now we'll go into the banister, the railing group, and then we'll right-click and hit Paste in Place. So it'll put it basically in the exact same location inside of my group object, which will make it a lot easier to do this maneuver. So let's make sure that the Follow Me tool is the active tool on this one. We'll use the Select tool to select the path that we want this thing to follow. We click the Follow Me tool and then select the banister. And there it is. And that looks pretty good. We are going to we're gonna copy this over just a little. We're gonna push pull this out just a little bit. Well, actually, turn on the X-ray mode and then get rid of that path. Just delete it. If you want to go into X-ray mode, you can just type in the search bar X-ray mode, and you can toggle it on and off here. I mapped it to the X key, which I think overrides some other hotkey, but it's probably one you don't need. I'm just going to push pull this up a little bit so that it's closer to this wall right here, because we're going to copy this thing a couple of times. So now we'll back out and we'll grab this thing, and we will. Oh yeah, let's sample our. Use this eyedropper tool to sample this material from the railing, and then paste it onto the or from the spindle to the rail. Now we'll grab this, and we will use our move tool. Move, M for move. Grab it, and I'm just going to move it straight down in the blue direction. So I'll hit the up key to lock it in that, and say we'll move it down 10 inches. Oh, undo. Click it. Move it in the x-axis. Hit Control to copy it. And then say 10 inches. And then say 2 times. So we have kind of a cool multi-rail effect here. Now let's take all 3 of these. Well, let's just take the top one, and we will grab it with the move tool, grab it right in that midpoint, hit the Control key, and copy it over to this rail, right in the midpoint on that spindle. And it's perfect. So let's move this down. Actually, before we do that, we're going to go into this, edit it, and we're gonna backtrack this one, because if we're gonna copy this one down, it doesn't need to be quite so high. So we want these other 2 rails to be the right length, you know, for what we're doing. So we'll grab this, grab the move tool, lock it in the vertical direction with up, hit Control, and hit 10 inches 2 times. So then we've got that. Final thing that I'm going to do is take just the top 2 rails and extend them to the top of the stairs. So I'm going to double click to enter this one. This is why I didn't make this a component, is because the top one is going to be longer than the other ones. There may be another more efficient way to do this, but this is how I've chosen to do it. And we'll cut it off maybe right about there. And you'll see there's a little problem right here with this step. We're going to fix that next. Now let's do this. Go into that one, and then we'll grab push pull. Oops, I grabbed the wrong face. Let's get closer. There we go. And then I'll just infer to this point right here. And there we go. We have our 2 rails. Now, one could go in and add some sort of like wall brackets that would hold this up. And honestly, we probably should, but I'm going to ignore it for now. It wouldn't be a terribly difficult procedure. But here is something we have to do right here. This top step is kind of clipping into the floor there. So we're going to right-click on it, and then we're going to make it unique. Now enter it. And we're going to hide the rest of the model and see. Okay, so we just need to cut off this whole part of this step. So we'll take the line tool. We will draw a line down here, and we'll use the push-pull tool to just get rid of it. And now if we exit out, we should see that it doesn't clip into the floor there. And it looks much nicer. There's a little extra line there. We'll get rid of that. Oh. What's going on here now? Yeah, that looks good. Looks great. And I will leave it to you to do the rail around here. And you can go ahead and pause the video and try taking a crack at that. Here's my effort. I will just give you a rough outline of what I did. I made the spindles 10 inches apart, which honestly I think is a little too close. I think they could be 12 or even 14 inches apart and look a little bit better. Although safety is also a consideration, and I'm not entirely certain what the code is for a rail of this nature. Then what I did was I created a line profile. So the profile for this railing was just I drew a line from this spindle to the end there, and then created a little square, much like I did for this one, and then just used the follow me tool to make it go all the way around. You could do some combination of drawing a square or a rectangle and then push pull to here and then draw a line and then push pull to there and then copy the thing down twice. But this was kind of a fun little exercise. And then I made sure that it kind of came somewhat close to the wall here with a little bit of a gap, which I think is what you would end up doing in real life too. So maybe try to get them a little farther apart. Use your best judgment, make it look nice. But I think once it's installed, it does make for a nice little extra detail on the house. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.